Hey there everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Essence. And in today's video I would like to talk about a certain psychic ability that I learned about when I was first starting magic, actually, and it took me a while to actually figure out, is it really real? Does this really happen? How does it happen? And there's tons of psychic abilities that I would like to learn. Telepathy, telekinesis, future sight, which if you have been on my channel long enough, you know that I used to experiment with a little bit of that when I first started magic, and I had some luck with telepathy. I had a decent amount of luck with future sight. I had no such luck with telekinesis, but I'll go into that in another video. But this video is not about those. But astral projection was one of them, and I did, in a way, achieve that. I haven't achieved full disconnection, but I at least have a sense of it down now. But the psychic ability that I am talking about in this video is called materialization. Now, when you look up materialization on Google, it talks about our materialistic society, materialistic people, materialism as a physical sense, like the need to have stuff. Which, I will not lie, yes, we are a materialistic society, we are a materialistic world, but that's not the materialism that I'm talking about. So, materialization is the alleged psychic ability to manipulate energy and matter to manifest physical things out of nowhere. Now, I've heard some reports, some different witnesses who have claimed to have been able to achieve this ability. And they've been able to manifest things like pennies or small jewels or even gold. There was a woman who supposedly could have this leaf gold-like substance come out of her skin, and it was documented on Unsolved Mysteries. They weren't exactly clear if it was a lie or if it was actually truth, but it was certainly an intriguing story nonetheless. Now, I wanted so bad to have this power. Like, imagine needing, like, a few quarters, and all of a sudden, you can manifest, like, a whole bag of them in your hand. Or if you want a piece of food, but you don't have enough money to buy it. Poof! Right in your hand. It would lower the cost of food. And if we were to achieve such ability and really work with it, imagine what you could do with it. The things that you could cast into existence. Now, I tried this so hard. I worked at this so hard when I was first starting magic. And I would try to manifest small things, because it said to start off with small things. And I tried a penny. I tried to manifest an actual penny. You know, as usual, the usual thing went on where I would try and try and try and nothing would happen. Well, one day, and this is something that happened, and I don't know how it happened. So I was manifesting in my room. It was the middle of the day. I think I had just got off of school, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try manifestation again. I'm going to try to manifest that damn penny. So I'm closing my eyes, and I'm thinking about the penny. I'm just imagining it dropping right in front of me. All of a sudden, I hear a ting, like a metallic clink. And I'm like, I'm looking around, I'm not seeing anything, and I'm like, what was that? I look on the ground, there's a penny. Now, I don't know if it came from my bed. Maybe there was a penny loose in my bed. Could have been that. But it got me excited. I will admit, it got me excited. I was like, oh my, oh my, oh my. I stumbled upon something. But I'm pretty sure that, you know, I had dumped out my change jar on my bed, and I was counting change. And when I put it all back, I think I missed a penny, and that's what happened. So I didn't actually achieve it, but it got me psyched. It got me pumped up. I was just like, oh my God, it happened. I can laugh about it now, but when I realized exactly what happened, I was like, oh crap. But there have actually been reports, so in the UK back in the and I think even it was like the late 18 to early 1900s, a lot of people were into seances, and there were people called spiritualists who were leading the seances and supposedly could conjure spirits, could conjure ectoplasm from their bodies. There were even reports that odd artifacts would materialize out of nowhere, like antique watches, even trumpets, silver spoons. Now, there are many who claim that these were all staged, even if the participants weren't aware of it. You know, they would take people into this house that was rigged, so they would turn off all the lights, and then they would act like they're contacting spirits, and then there would be people in the dark who would just throw these objects in the room to make it seem like spirits materialize these antique items. Which I gotta admit is pretty cool, but doesn't mean that materialization does not exist. Maybe these accounts were fake, but I do believe if we were to gain the power, we could. Now, how exactly would we get to that power? Concentration is number one. Meditation could be of assistance. Now, in order to manifest something with energy, it takes a great deal of both concentration and just focusing on the energy, just really getting that energy concentrated enough to actually be something, to where you can feel it on a somewhat physical level. Your hand will pass right through it, but you will feel it like if you are energizing a energy ball on your hand, above your hand. If you get it to enough energy, you will start to feel the energy coming off it. You will start to feel the electronic frequency coming from it. Now, that's the building blocks. That's the start. That's the basics to doing materialization. It's funny. I understand how it would be done, but actually doing it, I'm lost. In order to make this concentrated energy an actual physical thing, I think would be like one of the most difficult things ever. You would have to have the ability to manipulate matter as well as spiritual energy. So if you wanted to manifest a crystal, you would obviously have to have power over the materials that make it up. I feel like that would be one way to go, and that would probably be like the easiest way of this route, is to have the material available and bring it together with your energy. In order to create something straight from like the spirit world to your world, oh boy, we're talking real powerful energy. To bring something from nothing, I believe it's possible. I just think that is like an extremely hard thing to do. And I'm talking, this is like, if we were dealing with magic in terms of school age, a lot of what I've been teaching you is entry level, elementary, maybe a little bit intermediate, like 5th or 6th grade. But practically elementary. This level of energy materialization is like college. It's Harvard of energy. It is probably one of the most complicated classes of energy manipulation that you could partake in. It takes a lot of concentration, a lot of energy. You would drain yourself trying to make this happen if you were a beginner, just to go straight to it. So, if this is the case, how would we go about it as beginners? Start by a small amount of energy first and just focus on concentrating that small amount of energy. Focus on something small that you would like to manifest into this world, like a penny or a dime, smaller coins. If you wanted to possibly manifest a jewel, manifest a very small jewel. If you wanted to manifest a certain crystal, think of a small crystal or rock. Small items such as needles. I think needles would actually be a pretty good one because they're very thin, very small, very lightweight. Let me see. I'm looking around my room for any more examples. A little chunk of metal. If you wanted to manifest a chunk of metal for whatever reason. A nail. A screw. A nut or a bolt. A washer. Just thinking about my line of work. That's a lot of what I see. So, things that are very small. Although, I must admit, now that I think about it, like nails and screws, I mean, we're talking like thick consistency or metal. A needle is a small, thin piece of metal. Would probably be more easier than a nail or a screw because that's more of a thicker hunk of metal. Still small, but I think it would still take a great deal of concentration. I would go for lightweight, so like a penny or a dime. It's flat, it's small, it's very, very lightweight. If you held a penny in your hand and you hold a screw in the other one, it's going to be a little bit heavier than the penny. So try to think about the lightest thing you could think of. A feather. If you wanted to try and manifest a feather. Stuff like that. Just, think small, start small, see what you can do. And it'll probably take you quite a long time. I haven't practiced it in a long time, and I'm talking like several years since I graduated from high school. But in that time, I have had not even very little success. I've had no success. But I wanted to make this video to let you know, I do believe it's possible, and how I think it's possible. How would we go about this? And, the same thing with any psychic ability. It takes time. The brain is a muscle that we aren't really used to using a lot of. So we have to train it like a muscle. Same thing with telekinesis. You have to start with something small, attempt to levitate it with your brainwaves, and, slowly build up. Same thing if you were trying to build muscle by lifting weights. You got to start with the small weights first. And when that gets too easy, go to a slightly bigger one and then continue on from there. It's all about training, concentration, and just working with that energy to make it stronger and stronger. Another thing can be said about energy manipulation, working with the energy in your body. That takes time. Not everyone feels energy in their body like I have come to. I can hardly remember a time when I couldn't feel the energy in my body, the magic that I was utilizing. I could never feel it before. Now I can. That electrical sensation, you got to work with it. I would like to hear what your guys' thoughts are down in the comments about materialization. If you think it's possible, how do you think we can get to it? Do you agree with my assessment, or do you disagree, and why? I would love to hear any of your comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell button so you don't miss any of my future uploads. And because it is almost past midnight now, have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Gobble, gobble.